Yo, what's up, YouTube? Today we are going to talk about some anti-strats against Marco. As you know, Marco is a lot more popular in the City of the Wolves meta at the moment. Marco won Combo Breaker from Goichi, defeating all of the competition with the mix, and I kind of wanted to cover some of the options you have against the mix and kind of like what you should look out for specifically against Marco. Now, I have recorded a couple of slots to just show you guys the mix and what Marco is going to do. So most of these auto time setups are going to be plus 19. If he goes for the overhead, it's going to be meaty. And if you get hit by it, he can just loop his offense with the crouch and C. Now, if he feints fireball, he is plus 2. So if you press a button, you're going to get cooked. If you try to backdash, you're going to get cooked if he uses a crouching A. So basically, it limits all your options. But I'm going to show you some of the smarter options to do if you feel like A option is going to happen or B option. So first and foremost, Marco right here is going to do an overhead. Like I said, it's plus 19, so he's going to be able to do a crouch C because his crouch C is 6 frames. So he's going to be able to do that crouch C and get a link and loop the offense. Now, what are your options? At Combo Breaker, I saw a lot of people rev guarding the overhead. You never want to rev guard the overhead because it's just going to push you outside of the range of a punish. So you never want to rev guard the overhead. Do not rev guard the overhead. But you are going to use rev guard somewhere else that I will explain later in the video. So when you feel like the overhead is coming, what you want to do is try to JD the overhead. If you JD the overhead, there will be no pushback and you can get a close proximity C, which for Hotaru, it is 6 frames. So I will show you what that's going to actually look like. As you see, I JD'd it. Now he's -7. I am +7. So I can link a close proximity C and go for a full combo. Now I'm going to show you if I don't JD it, how much pushback. So as you see, I do not get close proximity C anymore. I get her far C, which is 9 frames. So I'm not going to be able to punish that. Even if I were to block it, I'm not going to get a punish with a C. If this character goes for overhead, you are going to want to punish with your biggest combo route, so you can deter him from using that option in general. So with that being said, if you JD it, you will get a full combo, and I will show you what that's going to look like. Now, wouldn't you much rather punish Marco for 440 versus some weak combo? At least for 440, this man is going to think about doing an overhead because he knows if it gets blocked, he's going to get deleted. So now I'm going to show you guys slot number 2. Now, slot number 2, we saw Goichi actually doing this setup on Reynald and Chris G, where he would feint the fireball, right? When you feint that fireball off the empty, it is +2. So when he empty jumps and whiffs that A and then feints, he's +2. So he's still at advantage. So if I were to mash, I'm going to get cooked straight up. Now, I know a lot of people have come up with like backdash OSs and stuff like that. I'm just going to show you the things that 1000% work. Some of the OSs, there's so many workarounds to OSs. That's why I don't really want to get too much into OSs, because a backdash OS can definitely get cooked as well. But I'm going to show you when he goes for the low option, what are some of your options. All right, so most characters have a close standing A that's going to be 4 frames. With Marco, if he hits his crouching B to try to hit you meaty, it's going to be a 6 frame button, right? But once you subtract the 2, he's going to have a 2 frame crouching B. If Hotaru were to mash her crouching A, it's 4 frames, so y'all are going to trade. But mashing right there is too dangerous because of the overhead threat. So with lows, as you know, when somebody goes low, if you backdash, you can actually backdash it. Now, I know V-Ryu, shout outs to V-Ryu. V-Ryu has a lot of option selects to cover the backdash, but most Marcos are not doing the OSs. So when he goes low, you can actually backdash, and then you will be able to get out of the low, or you can rev guard and eliminate a lot of options, and I will show that next. So as you see, I was able to backdash the low because, of course, backdashes beat lows and throws. Now, the thing about this situation is, like I said, there's probably some option selects out there where he could catch your backdash, but you're going to have to see if your opponent has those. Second, if he does go low, you want to commit to a rev guard. You want to rev guard the low. If you rev guard the low, he gets crouch B, far B. So now he gets a far B instead of a close B. He cannot special cancel that far B. He can only super cancel that far B. So you eliminate his whole options once you rev guard that. And the funny part about Marco is if he does a crouching A instead to beat the backdash, like let's say he's trying to cover the backdash. If he does crouching A into stand B, into an uppercut, the uppercut will actually whiff on rev guard. And Goichi actually did this a couple of times against Reynald, and Reynald didn't get the full punish because he wasn't ready. But if you rev guard that string, most Marcos will still commit to the string, and you can actually get a wild punish. 558 damage is actually insane. And like I said, this is a thing that happened in the Reynald and Goichi set, and I will show a clip right now.
Oh, he's gonna lose it too.
Yeah, before we even do anything with it.
And blocks. Oh no, didn't wait for him to land.
So based on that example alone that I showed you, I'm going to show you how much damage Reynald could have gotten if he would have reacted to the situation. But in tournament, you know, it's different. It's a lot on the line. So of course, I'm not expecting him to react in that situation, but I'm just going to show what could have possibly happened because he actually could have done a lot of damage. He pressed crouch C while he was still in the air. What would have happened if he would have pressed crouch C when he was on the ground? Bro could have got 626 damage, literally in the round type damage. So like you see the importance of how good Rev Guard actually is against some of Marco's strings. All right, y'all. So next I want to talk about the dreaded EX Tatu. Now this move definitely sets up all of his offense because if it hits, he can also get the mix, right? So there are going to be a couple of options and they are not going to be the easiest, especially the first one I'm going to show you where you can hyper defend the Tatu and get through the second hit and do whatever you want. A super or uppercut if you have an uppercut character. You can even do a special move just depending on how fast, but I'll show some examples right now. And those were just a few examples of things that you can do against it. If you have those good reactions and you know he's going to do it, just play your ground. The moment the second hit is about to connect, hyper defend, and then go for the amount of punishes I just showed you. Another classic situation is when he does have his rev blow, he will place the rev blow at the end of the Tatu string, which you will have to be looking out for. But there are a lot of counters for that action. So not only can you do rev blow, which is a pretty obvious one, but you can also do high dodge and low dodge to counter this action. Which I did not know about. I actually just learned about that today. So both of your dodges work right there. Your rev blow will work right there. And let's just say he should not be doing that action. Of course, you can also super that gap. So more than likely, he will do the rev blow at the end because that's the only way to keep himself safe. Because if he does Tatu by itself, it is -8. So it's hella punishable. Correction, -9, even more punishable. So when he has a red blow, he's probably going to do that at the end, but he can also break the Tatu before it gets to the unsafe part, which will be 2 hits, which is actually safe. However, just like I showed you before, if you are able to hyper defend, you can still punish him. All in all, Marco is a very hard character to defend against because you have to know all the mechanics in the game. You have to be very, very good at using them. And the mix, when it comes to the mix, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, you're gonna have to guess. There are times where you're just gonna have to guess. But with the options I showed you earlier, at least if you guess right, you get an advantageous situation and you could potentially win the entire match. I hope y'all enjoyed this anti-Marco guide. Until next time, YouTube, peace.